Welcome to Happiness Studies. Today we are going to talk about how to deal with toxic people. The best way by far to deal with toxic people is actually to remove them from your life entirely.
Remove this man before I commit an act of violence against him.
But of course, that is not always the option. So in this video, we are going to talk about the next best thing that we can do to live with these toxic people when walking away is not an option. The second best way to deal with these toxic people is to maintain a healthy distance. Maintaining a healthy distance can be as simple as just removing yourself from the person or as complex as having a serious talk with the person themselves and trying to re-establish the relationship. But regardless of the level of complexity, here are 3 things to keep in mind in order to do so. Number 1. Don't be anyone's punching bag. The best tool to know if someone is toxic is actually just to check in with yourself and how they make you feel on a regular basis. Don't normalize their abusive behavior no matter how small. Have the courage to speak up and stand up for yourself. Set clear boundaries where necessary. Firmly stand your ground and do not play into their games if they are unwilling to respectfully play yours. Number 2. Plan ahead of time how are you going to react. If this toxic person does this specific behavior, how exactly are we going to react? Try to anticipate their best and worst behavior and plan accordingly. You do not want to find yourself with these toxic people with no answers because that leaves room for you to make mistakes or do things that you might regret later on. For example, you might end up saying nasty things that you didn't want it to say, you might melt down in front of others, or just find yourself in a standoff between you and the person. Basically, what you do not want is to let your emotion get the better of you. And the best way to prevent that is to have a plan ahead of time how exactly you are going to handle the situation. Number 3, seek help. If you can, it is always better to seek help and guidance from others who you can trust. Dealing with these toxic people can leave you feeling a bit like a walking pressure cooker ready to explode at any moment. For this reason, it is ideal to have a safe space to consult with someone so that you can release some of that pressure. So try not to do it all on your own. Here, Happiness Studies also offer you extra support if you need to talk, and you can find the link in the description below if you would like to schedule a meeting. When walking away and distancing yourself is not an option. When walking away and distancing yourself is not an option, then the only choice we have then is to learn how to live with them. Since we clearly cannot change who they are, then the only way this is going to get any better is that we are going to have to change ourselves. Here are 5 things that you can do in order to find happiness when living with these toxic people. Number 1. Learn not to let what happened outside dictate what is going on inside. Life by default is good and bad. And by that definition, a happy person is not a person who only experiences the good but also must learn how to handle the bad. Your capacity to transform a bad event into a good one determines the range of happiness available to you in life. So the key takeaway here in living with these toxic people is that we must learn how to live above their negativity. Remember that you are the master of your own soul. You can choose to let these toxic people drag you down or rise above and become stronger because of it. You can't always choose what people are going to do to you. However, what you can always choose is how are you going to respond to it. So don't let these toxic people rob or deny you of your own happiness. Remember, the game is actually very easy. If you let them get to you, you lose. Number 2, when you hate them, they don't suffer, you do. The Buddha once said that hating someone is like holding on to a hot stone. The person who gets burned first is not them, but you. So a common scenario for me, would be coming home and, brooding about these toxic people, thinking about like, why are they so bad? Why did they do this and why didn't they do that? And on, I would keep thinking about them. But the funny thing is that, they wouldn't even be there to listen to me, but I would mentally carry them home from work and think about them. They might already be enjoying themselves at the beach somewhere while I'm at home losing sleep over them. So the question here is, who is suffering here? Who is suffering here? So what I would like us to see is how we might be suffering, not so much because of them, but because of our inability to let go of our hate for them. So if we truly love ourselves, we would not want to hold on to the hot stone. We would not let the fire within our heart to spread like wildfire and be consumed by it. That again would mean we lose the game because we let their negativity get to us. Number 3, accept and forgive them. not for them, but for us. In the same line as the previous point, this is not an exercise for you to accept their bad behaviors and forgive their wrongdoing. To accept and forgive them is a way for us to allow ourselves to move on from them and be happy. So this is purely for our own happiness. One tool that I use often in order to come to terms with these toxic people is to try to understand them. There's a quote I really like. It says, "You can't hate someone whose story you know. Perhaps they have a terrible past. Or maybe they have issues that we do not know about. Whatever it is, it might not entirely be their choice or intention that they somehow ended up being toxic. At the end of the day, nobody wants to be toxic, so try our best to understand them and accept them so that we can find happiness and don't take their negativity personally." Number 4, people do not grow because things are easy. The ability to transform a bad event into a good one is the quality of a happy person. And I believe these toxic people are sent to us so that we can learn how to do that. So in a way, we should be thanking them for giving us this
wonderful opportunity
for us to grow and toughen up and become a bigger person. They really push us than we wouldn't otherwise have if things were going smoothly. So in a way, we should embrace this opportunity and learn to become a better person. There is always something good in the bad if we try to look for it. This is exactly what I mean to rise above their negativity. Number 5, know that it can always be worse. Are these toxic people like trying to kill you or come after your life and everyone that you love? I am 100% sure that there are someone out there in this world whose answer might be yes. So if your answer is still no, I guess that is something you can still be grateful for. And there are millions of things that can be worse, right? Like having no food on the table, maybe you lost your legs the next day. Conclusion: the best way to deal with toxic people is by far to not have them in your life. But if that is not possible, then the second best way is to maintain a healthy distance. In order to set clear boundaries, we must have the courage to stand up for ourselves, speak up, stand our ground, and do not take any of their bad behaviors. We must also be smart about how are we going to interact with them so that we get the result that we want. And lastly, I can't stress enough how important it is to have someone to lean on when times are tough. These are the 4 most important things when you're trying to create a healthy distance. However, when walking away and distancing ourselves is not an option, then the only choice we have is to learn how to live with them. We learned in this video that it is necessary for us to understand, accept, and forgive them, not for them, but for us to allow ourselves to be happy. We also learn how to put our happiness first by letting go of our hate for them. We also learn to see that perhaps this is a good opportunity for us to grow and become stronger. And lastly, by looking at the bigger picture, we might realize how we might have it better than a lot of people, and that alone is something we can be grateful for. So that is it for me, guys. If you'd like me to continue helping others to find happiness, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I hope to be able to help more and more people in the future. Thank you very much.